Hey guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Nduna Ngombe, which means headman of cattle. My name, of course, Mitchell Mutumba Simata, aka the headman of cattle. So after the video I did with Mr. Mitiga, I just first want to say thank you very much to Mr. Mitiga, the vice chairperson of Savannah Beef, vice chairperson of the beef value chain. And I say thank you very much to them for him coming through. And I thought he'd be like, nah, I don't want to talk to you. But he was like, you know what, Mitch, I'm ready. Call me at 11. Let's do this. Let's talk. And I will introduce Savannah Beef to you so you guys get to know what Savannah Beef is all about. There was a good interview, by the way. It was really an eye opening experience, well orchestrated, a well learned behind the scenes. And I'm sure there'll be more conversations in future. Now, to me, what are my opinions on this? Firstly, we need to recognize Namibia is a free market economy. I mean, Namibia is a mixed economy. It means we run on both um, almost communist or let me say socialist policies and also on private business policy, which is free enterprise. Free enterprise means that any person who sees that there is a market gap can set up any business he wants to set up. It's like, for example, when Transnamib decided to shut down its truck service, road service, many private companies got in there and they filled that gap. So everybody's allowed to do that. We run on a social service where government can own certain very key, as we call them, key economic sectors, like the meat industry with MeatCo. So now these guys are seeing a gap and they're deciding to exploit this gap. The only thing that I would have loved Mr. Mitziger to touch on was what are the things that he saw wrong with MeatCo. Maybe we'll have another conversation with that because it takes me back. Look, I was not yet around. I was born 1991. But it takes me back probably to a time where the state and the central hospital in Namibia were once upon a time one of the best running hospitals in the country. But then people started jumping ship and setting up private hospitals and private practices. I'm sure it was a time where people were confused. What is going on behind closed doors? Why are so many doctors running to create their own private practices? What's happening there? So it leaves lots of questions to be desired. And hopefully I will get a representative of MeatCo one of those good days on the channel here on the line or physically go to the offices so we can actually get the gist of what exactly is happening here because we're all confused. We all want answers. We all want to understand what is going on. Because going away from MeatCo, which has always been the biggest meat producer in this country, to suddenly seeing springing up of businesses like BeefCo, which is one, might have an interview of them soon too. Now there's Savannah Beef, another one, and there could be other ones that I do not know about that are out there busy doing the private slaughtering business, what MeatCo is supposed to be doing. It shows that there is a decline there. There's a decline at MeatCo. There's something happening probably behind closed doors that we are unaware about. And also the comments that the minister, the line minister, Honorable Kalesh Ledvine said, really leaves a lot to be desired. Why is he saying that the company is in ICU? What is going on? Is the finances not balancing? Is money going missing? Is the MeatCo coffers empty? What's going on there? Is the So a lot of things are missing, in my opinion. We'll have to sit down and look at it, man. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of things missing because we have to pay attention and look at what might be happening behind closed doors. Because seriously, there's a big decline. There's a big decline, and many of us are worried because most of those private abattoirs don't look like they're going to be going up northeast of the country or going to the northern communal areas. They'll probably be stuck in the commercial areas. And Savannah Beef has already said their business model, southern side of the country, Otavi, Grootfontein, down all the way to the border of South Africa. That's their business model. I think BeefCo, yeah, BeefCo, it's BeefCo. I think BeefCo is the same thing because their abattoir is in Okahanja. Yeah, it's set up in Okahanja or is it Rockville, between those areas. It's somewhere there. So the northern guys have to worry because most of them slaughter with MeatCo. MeatCo is their biggest meat producer there. So if things are going bad and they go from bad to worse and they go from bad to shutdown, we are all worried. I think everybody's worried. Uh, what's the other point that I wanted to touch on? Beefco, Savannah Beef, MeatCo decline. There's a lot to be asked there. What one person told me was he made a quote. I mean, he gave a scenario. He said he told this to the current line minister that what you guys are trying to do, you are trying to catch a cow that has already jumped out of a building through a window, and now you want to catch it. by the time that cow reaches the ground, it's going to crush all of you. You won't be able to catch it. You might catch it, but it will be at the detriment of you. So there's a lot to be questioned. I know MeatCo was talking about setting up a feedlot in Omaheke, cattle country. I don't know what has been happening at that feedlot. Is it up and running? Is it running some animals? Are they feeding animals? Are they producing their own slaughter animals? Because I remember MeatCo did talk about the winner market in South Africa and how they want to set up a feedlot to try and limit the exporting of livestock to South Africa. I don't know how far that is going. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't really heard or read anything there. Maybe somebody in Omaike can tell me what's going on there. Is the feedlot up? Is it running? Are the cattle? Are they feeding so much animals? What's exactly is going on there at the MeatCo feedlot? Late payments, eh? So many farmers are talking about these late payments. There's a problem there. People are waiting for a while to get payment from MeatCo, and it's really frustrating. If I slaughtered my cattle 2 weeks ago, I should be getting paid. I shouldn't have to wait a bit longer for money to come because you're slaughtering my animal, you're taking it to sell, or you guys have already sold it or exported the meat outside or sold the meat internally. I should get my returns. Why do I have to wait so long? I think that's part of the problems. Many people are fed up with that. And Beefco, I don't really know their business module, Savannah Beef. If they can bring in a system where we slaughter your cow on Friday and you get paid on Monday, farmers are going to jump at that because people want money now. They don't want to wait. Phew, there's a lot of headaches happening there. And the sad part that I mentioned here, a sad point that I mentioned here is many of these guys who are behind setting up many of these private abattoirs, private slaughtering houses, are former MeatCo employees. These are people that have the inside trading secrets, that have made contacts, that know who to talk to, and they have the contacts out there to be able to set up their own private abattoir. It would be problematic. Savannah, Savannah beef, what it has done, what it's going to do is it's showing farmers that they can be able to come together. I think way before Savannah beef was even expressed, I remember the late advocate Vekwi Rukoro mentioned after he had been removed from MeatCo that he's encouraging over Herero farmers to donate cattle, those that can give money, so we set up our own abattoir, so we get away from MeatCo's regulation and MeatCo's politics. He already expressed that. So I don't know how far that is going to go because what I'm seeing going forward, the decline of MeatCo is going to lead to many more farming communities trying to set up their own abattoir. I remember Vekwiru Koro, when he was still the paramount chief of the Wairero, tried to encourage his people to donate money. I know, Mangeti, in the Mangeti area, the Mangeti farmers also tried to set up their own almost abattoir in the Mangeti beef selling company. They tried that. I don't know how far that went. And now Savannah Beef has just shown the blueprint. And I'm sure many companies, many communities are going to follow the Savannah Beef print and are going to donate. I know one in Zambezi, which is called Zamco. One gentleman was busy telling us that they wanted to work on the same policy, almost similar to what Savannah Beef did. And they did that before Savannah Beef. But many of us told them, okay, fine, you tried to do that before Savannah Beef, but that's irregular. It's irrelevant now because Savannah Beef is coming. They're literally saying next year, next year, November, December, abattoir will be done and they'll be probably operating already by then. So it's interesting times. It's interesting times in the meat industry. It's going to be sad if this big juggernaut, which is MeatCo, which one man said is an oil tanker, and if you've ever seen oil tanking ships, they're quite huge, they're massive. It's going to take time to turn it around, and usually those ships don't turn as fast as a speedboat. They don't turn as fast as a yacht. They take a bit longer to turn. And if you remember the scenario where one tried to turn in the canal there in Egypt and was unable to turn, and it caused a blockage, and people had to use different routes. So it'll be a massive, massive turnaround program here at MeatCo. Do I think the current CEO could get it? Probably could, but I don't think it's going to just take him. I think it's going to take maybe 3, 4 CEOs down the line to actually get this company back where it needs to be. But if there's going to be an increase in more private abattoirs being set up that are going to be doing what MeatCo does, I'm probably looking at it moving away from being a slaughtering company to actually being a regulating body. It's gonna move from being a soccer player, you can put it in football. It's gonna move from being a footballer to actually being a coach or being a referee. What I'm seeing, it might go that route. So it's gonna take time. Can it really recover? Well, my opinion, it can. It just needs to get its finances proper, because I was reading that it got some loans from DBN. That loan was used to pay FNB, and they also got another loan from, I mean, they paid FNB and they paid Bank Funduk. Now they have a DBN loan, which is the Development Bank of Namibia. They have to work and make money to be able to pay back that loan. And then after that, when they're debt free, they can actually focus to start making money and actually servicing the farmers. Because this product, the CEO was mentioning, they have the American market, they have the Chinese market, they have the European market. But we have to sit down and question. They have the Chinese, American, European. I don't know. I think they also have some African markets, the Ghana market. We'll have to sit down and ask ourselves, where are we going? I'd love to hear your opinions of this. Where are we going? Where are we going? Because they got all these four markets. He said we have. Are we able to really meet their standards? Are we able to really meet their quotas? I remember China. I mean, I remember the president, President Hagi Geingob, said that we are unable to supply China the meat quantity it needs. America, Europe, and also the African markets are able to meet the demand, or is it a situation of demand outweighs supply? And I think with more farmers leaving MeatCo to join the private abattoirs, I'm seeing a decline. I'm seeing a decline, and then later on, a shutdown of these markets. That's what's going to happen. A decline, and then a shutdown. And then private abattoirs are going to take over this different contracts and different, they're going to take up these different contracts, and they're going to be able to supply. So, hey, man, as a person in the livestock industry, I'd love MeatCo to still be able to do what it does, but we need to be very worried, because what's happening is currently, as we speak, there is a rise of private abattoirs in the country, and when abattoirs and things start becoming privatized and they're actually on an increase, more of them are opening up. It is a sign that we're heading for uncharted waters. Sooner or later, the public enterprises are going to start shutting down. Like I mentioned with Transnamib, when it gave up its trucking services, now suddenly many private individuals have gotten into the trucking service. And even if Transnamib decides tomorrow to say, we want to bring back our trucking service, they might not get their old contracts. They have lost all their old contracts with the various companies, because the private guys have taken over, and the private guys are probably offering better service, better pricing, and so forth, and they can't keep up. So MeatCo, do I think they can still survive? They can, if they do a proper turnaround, the analysis of their company, proper turnaround of what they're doing, revive all these abattoirs that are deserted, or go into uh, private public business partnership with communities to say, listen, okay, you guys run your abattoirs, we'll train you guys how to run and be able to do the slaughtering, but sell, we are your client, we are your clients, we buy your meat from you guys. Maybe if we go that route, maybe we'll see MeatCo still doing what it's doing. But if it still wants to run this abattoirs and is unable to get, as Minister Sledvine said, I think it's the Kunene, Ovambuland, and the Kavango abattoirs are not running. The only one currently still running is the one in Katima in the Zambezi region. So, hey, it's going to be interesting times. We will wait and see. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say bye for now. And before I say bye for now, actually, don't say bye for now. Before I actually say bye for now, I am extending an invitation to any of the MeatCo people, MeatCo representatives, PRs, information desk, wherever, to come to the channel and tell us a bit about what's going on there and how do they plan to turn this company around. Because look, I know I have been on many platforms criticizing them, but look, I'll open up my doors to anybody to come and tell us what their plans are and how they're gonna turn this juggernaut around, because it's a big ship, a big fuel container which they have to turn around. And I'm extending the invitation. Any person who works for MeatCo, who is a subscriber, come through, Come through, hit me up on my email, Mitchell Mutumba Simata, all small caps, at gmail.com, and let's see what we can do. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, bye for now.